Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the AVPN webinar, The Power of Intermediaries to Catalyze Corporate Social Impact. My name is Roshni Prakash. I am the Products Director, Knowledge and Insights at AVPN. For those of you who do not know us already, we are a network of funders and resource providers with over 600 members across 32 markets. Our guiding mandate is to provide more capital towards impact in Asia by providing stakeholders like yourselves opportunities to connect, learn, and lead. In this session, we will explore the growing ecosystem of corporate social impact and how, through meaningful partnerships, corporates and intermediaries are able to extend their impact on the ground. We will hear from a distinguished panel of speakers today. First, Han Ling, Assistant Professor in Gender Studies program at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, who will be our moderator and also introduce the topic. Sherry C., Senior Vice President, Group Strategic Marketing and Communications at DBS Bank China. Jessica Chen, Senior Manager, Brand and Partnership Development at Nonprofit Incubator or NPI. Sherry and Jessica will share about their long-term partnership and how it has evolved over the years. We will then hear from Robert Bake, General Manager, Corporate Social Responsibility at Hyundai Motor Company, and Romi Cahyadi, Chief Executive Officer with Instellar Indonesia. Romi and Robert will share their experiences partnering across borders and across cultures. After each presentation, there will be a short discussion to dig deeper into the nuances of each partnership. There will also be time for Q&A from the audience, so please use the chat function to introduce yourself and submit a question to the panelists at any time during the session. If you face any tech issues, please do not use the chat box, but contact us at knowledge@avpn.asia, and we will support you as soon as possible. On that note, it's my pleasure to hand over to Han Ling. Han Ling, over to you.
Hi, everyone. It's my great pleasure to share the studies with you today. Next slide. On leveraging intermediary to maximize corporate social impact. So in recent years, corporate entities are becoming more sophisticated in their impact strategy. They are moving beyond traditional CSR toward a more deliberate integration of social responsibility and environmental challenges into the company's business core strategies. And as you can see on the right, corporate social responsibility is just one approach to corporate social impact. And there are a diversity of approaches to corporate social impact, including strategic CSR, employee engagements, and corporate philanthropic giving, developing new business model for inclusive growth, such as social business accelerator and establishing foundations, impact funds, all with the aim to support this ecosystem growth. Next slide. And strategic, as we observe in the South and Southeast Asian economy, strategic CSR is underway with different legislations and increasing CSR investment by local and international companies. But we also see that there are common challenges for achieving impactful corporate engagement. First, the challenge is that because company and nonprofit operate on contracts and premise, often we see that there exists the trust deficit between company and nonprofits, and that brings challenges to their collaborations. And second, for company, often need to meet due diligence requirement and also align with their CSR objective. Sometimes we see that there is bias in their CSR implementation. And third is that often corporates working with different cultural and social background may lack the experience to identify appropriate projects or a coherent theory of change. And this may lack a strategic planning on their side. And fourth, often the CSR investments and impact outcome, corporate often sometimes neglect to invest in capacity building activity to build long-term social impact for these intermediaries. Next slide. So to overcome these common challenges, working with intermediary may be one way to maximize corporate social impact. Intermediaries include incubator, accelerator, capacity builders, network and platforms, and also research, bring the institutes to bring research and knowledge. And they could support governments, corporates, and funders and social purpose organizations to build the ecosystem in more impactful ways. And they can act as coordinators between SPOs, social investor, and facilitate more effective and efficient alliances to maximize corporate social impact. And we also introduced a field building intermediary, which embrace the full spectrum of the continuum of capital and leverage the whole portfolio to support SPOs and also catalyze system change in this field. Next slide. So for corporate looking to achieve a specific social outcome through different types of engagements, intermediary could serve as a hub to coordinate this complex action to steer all stakeholders toward the defined goal. And intermediary can become a catalyst for maximize corporate social impact. Next slide. And they can maximize corporate social impact through diverse of ways, like help define strategic areas and focus for corporate strategies, and help design innovative programs, provide expertise to inform better decisions, and provide incubation service and co-working space, and provide knowledge and advice to scale up the solutions, and also reduce transaction costs to find the right local partners. And they also help mobilize multi-sector knowledge and talent for deal sorting. Next slide. So the value for corporate to invest and support intermediary is multifaceted. It can help bridge asymmetric resources and information between business, government, nonprofits, and funders. It can also help catalyze the growth of SPO in the developing social economy. And last, it helps coordinate a vibrant ecosystem. Next slide. So how can corporate support capacity building to accelerate the growth of intermediaries? As we see that many intermediaries in Asia remain small in scope and skill, given the funding is scarce, while they are really critical in helping corporate craft more strategic decisions and financially sustainable. To scale up through their capacity building support, they often struggle to be financially sustainable themselves. So how can corporate support capacity building to accelerate the growth of intermediaries? Here we provide 3 recommendations. Corporate could help intermediary achieve financial sustainability through flexible and patient capital. Second, corporate could support capacity building for intermediary to develop their critical role as ecosystem builder. And third, corporate can integrate intermediary in their different corporate social impact journey to achieve this multiplier impact. Next slide. And today we will hear from 2 successful partnerships between corporate and intermediaries to learn more about the opportunity, challenges, and approaches for corporate to establish a partnership with intermediary to achieve and maximize corporate social impact. Okay. So next slide. So first, let me introduce Sherry Shi, the Senior Vice President, Group Strategic Marketing and Communication of DBS Bank China Limited. And also Jessica Jie Chen, Senior Manager, Brand and Partnership Development of Nonprofit Incubator in China.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, I'm glad to be here to introduce our how DBS is doing the supporting the social enterprise, and together with our key partner NPI. So we have 2 parts. I will go for the first part, and then I will hand over to Jessica. DBS is a leading bank in Asia, and Asia's growth has improved many lives in the region. But still, there are growing social problems and environmental challenges that need us to pay attention to. So we believe that by championing the social enterprise, we can accelerate the social impact and strive towards a better world where business become a force for good and provide sustainable outcomes. Next slide, please. So who are the social enterprise? Actually, more than 10 years ago, we observed an emerging trend of SME who committed to solve social problems in Singapore. That was actually the social enterprise models. And we hope to leverage the expertise and the network of DBS Bank to champion social entrepreneurship. So DBS pilot run the social enterprise banking package. to support the growth of such business. And from that time, DBS started to position our CSR as supporting SEs and execute the responsibilities in 3 different ways. One is to advocate, the second is nurture, and the third is integrate. I will share some samples later. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, DBS supported social enterprise for many years. But back to 2012, when we started the journey of supporting SEs in China, it was a new word to us. I remember very clearly one afternoon, a founder of NPI met with me in a cafe, and he talked a lot of SE stories and what NPI is doing. So I'm so touched by his passion and professional knowledge. It was just the partner that we are looking for. So from 2012 to 2014, during the early stage of SEs appeared in China, we focus on these things. First is nurture, to support selected social enterprise by funding. And second is advocate, which means raise awareness of the SEs, the business with a social mission to the young generation, as well as the public. So we cannot make it happen without the partnership of our local partners. For example, NPI, who is the first incubator in China for social innovation, and You Change Foundation, they target youth in the universities across the country. We offered SE funds and mini SE grants through these partners. Also, we work with China's top universities to have SE forum every year. And since 2014, DBS established the DBS Foundation, which is a Singapore dollar 50 million foundations to strengthen our corporate social responsibility efforts in Asia. This also signals our commitment to addressing the region's social needs. Next slide, please. So DBS Foundation launched many programs to help social enterprise in various stages of their growth journey. Starting with grant support, our programs range from venture challenge, learning forums, intensive incubation, and mentoring. As you can see, we partner with NUS for social venture challenge from 2015 to 2019 for 5 years. And you also have a specific DBS Adopt SE mentorship program in each country, leverage the local management team and skill volunteers efforts to serve as the mentor for SEs selected from our foundation's alumni. And in 2017, we observed SE sector is rapidly developed in recent years, especially in Greater China area. So we conducted in-depth research that was a jointly efforts by DBS Foundation and the Social Enterprise Research Academy, one of our local key partners in China. Next slide, please. So the journey is going on. In 2019, DBS Foundation SE Grants Program received a record of 600 applications from Asia. We have built strong relationships in Singapore, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, India, and Indonesia with local key partners. Actually, they refer outstanding social enterprise who is looking for next stage scale up and increasing social impact to DBS. And then 2020 is coming. The outbreak of COVID-19 has had an impact on all walks of life and making SMEs face the difficulty to fight the epidemic. So in order to further understand the impact on all kinds of social needs and provide effective support, DBS China, together with China Social Enterprise and the Investment Forum, to launch the SE Critical Needs Survey, and followed on that with more partners, for example, the Alipay, the most digitalization company in China, and Yishe and the CSEIF, we offered an online SE bootcamp to deliver the capacity building courses to those SEs for free. And in DBS Group, we also walked the talk. We quickly launched zero interest loan for SEs to support the cash flow needs, especially in this difficult time. Also, we provide business transformation and improvement grants to SEs for some implement solutions for the future post-COVID. Next slide, please. So overall, DBS Group donated as Singapore dollar 10.5 billion to establish the DBS Stronger Together Fund in the Asia Pacific region to help the communities who were hit hard by the outbreak of COVID. And in China, Again, we together with NPI quickly responds to donate food and PPE pack delivered to those elderly, disabled and disadvantaged people, as well as those suffering from the unemployment due to the manufacturing shutdown caused by COVID. Next slide. Next slide, thanks. Okay, so here's some snapshot that the DBS teams doing the volunteering jobs in 12 cities jointly with NPI colleagues to fight for the COVID. In DBS, everyone is the ambassador of our brand value, and the Stronger Together campaign will be the next CSR brand that we will long-termly work with NPI to promote in future. Next slide. So after telling the whole story of DBS, I just want to highlight some key points that why we choose NPI, as well as the other excellent local partners to execute our CSR project. First, I think passion is the most important quality of partners. For example, the founder, the core teams we work with, we very much appreciate NPI's teams like soldiers, quickly respond and take ownership. And that's also the quality I request myself, because we're doing CSR things always facing challenges. And secondly, I think the common mission is the base and the foundation connected between DBS and NPI. That made us believe we are doing the right things in the same value. And then I think the long-term commitment, not only by DBS, but also by the partner, is important. NPI's development in China is networking in communities across the country, or made to the credible outcomes for our project. Last but not least, professional knowledge by NPI helps us to precisely invest our efforts to the beneficiaries in this project. So next, let me hand over to Jessica Chen for her further introduction of NPI.
Thank you, Sherry. So first of all, I'd like to send great thanks to Sherry and DBS, because actually DBS is among the largest donors of NPI Foundation since outbreak of the pandemic. So they donated about RMB 5 million to support the vulnerable groups among the communities across China in about 12 cities. So I want to add some another reason that I think why we can make this partnership work together. Please go to the next slide. And the next, this one, yes, right. So if you look through the map, you can see NPI has a large network across the country. So far, we're headquartered in Shanghai, and we have city offices in about 19 regional offices in about including almost all the first and second tier cities in China, and we have another about 58 project sites in across the country. Actually, that makes us probably the largest supporting network for social entrepreneurship and community development. That makes us can actually, at the same time, we can initiate the program in many cities in China, which actually most of the NGO cannot do that. That's why we can get, get the opportunity to work with a large company, transnational company such as the DBS, because always they would like to launch the big programs, and they want to launch the program in not only one or two cities, but all over the country. So I think that is also very important for us because of the size of the organization and also the capacity of us to deal with the transnational companies, because we have got this experience. Okay, then please go back. So NPI stands for the non-profit incubator, and yes, and we were actually we are founded in 2006. So actually we updated a little bit of our mission and the version just right this year. especially after the pandemic, because before we think it's very important to incubate and to support more NGO, especially the grassroots NGOs and the social enterprises in China, because we think the philanthropy industry in China is the need to scale up. But now we start to think that the community can be the key of the future, because we need to get the support from the general the public actually who lives actually in the community. So that's why actually we renewed a little bit our mission as established a support system for community development. And also we would like to go for a balanced, trustful and co-governance society, which means we will work more actively to connect the both parties of the society, including the government and the company and of course the public in the community. So actually this year, most of the donors, actually we just persuade them to successfully to support the community related progress. So I think we believe that's a huge progress. So please go to the next slide, please. And here I just listed some of our major tasks of API. We work with the government, and 50% of our income actually comes directly from the local government in many cities through the government purchase programs. Actually, most of them are in the communities, such as operation of the community public spaces and providing the local community services. And also, of course, we have the great partners such as the DBS and other multinational companies to launch very localized CSR campaigns in big cities and also in the second tier cities. And we would plan the program according to the different requests of the different companies. So about another half of our income actually come from these company partners, and most of them actually there are financial institutions, the banks and the insurance companies and such things like that, and also technology companies such as Alibaba, Tencent, Microsoft, IBM, and many companies. And in recent years, we're glad to realize that the more like local companies actually join to support the community development. So we think that will be another trend of the Chinese philanthropy industry. And of course, we started our business as an incubator for the grassroots NGOs. So we're going to continuously to support them. So we launched the online learning platform, and we just assist our company partners to provide the pro bono service to empower the local NGO and social enterprises. And we're trying to initiate such as like seed fund programs to sponsor them financially. But in most cases, they are all serving in the community landscape. And so this is actually, I should put this in the first place, the continue to boost community development. Actually, we just upgraded this as organization strategy. So in the future, we're just going to work deeply and with all local and international partners to support the local community. Actually, I would like to share also this background as the central government actually start to realize the community could be very important, especially after the pandemic, because you can see when people actually they have to live within the community for a while, then is the living standard really depends on the quality of the community service they can enjoy. So in the future, actually, also the public and also the government, they will realize this will be significant issue if we want to make a better society. So next slide, please. And maybe another, yes. And also we has this international connections. We have this great partners such as AVPN and the United Way and Unlimited UK and TechSoup. Also, I would like to mention this. TechSoup is the largest IT donation platform in the world, and we are the solo partner of them in China. So through this network, we empower the local NGOs by just bring the technologies and the software from companies such as Microsoft and many other, the Zoom and also Zoom and many other tech companies. So I think this is also important to empower them by improving their IT technologies. And also as foreigners, this is the first research on the local social enterprises in China. So this is a project from the European Union, and just wrote the first national report of the social enterprises, the situation of the social enterprises in China. So in the future, we want to go more like a global, and we would like to share our experience and want to learn from our international peers about to make the whole world a better place. And okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Right, here's the sum of company partners. As you may see, most of them are still transnational companies. Actually, this is for a reason, because in the early years of, would you go back? Yes, because many international companies, they have the mature global strategies, and they have the budget, and they have actually the sense to do something not much related to the branding or marketing, but CSR only. So it's easier to persuade them to do something to support the very fundamental constructions, not like to give the money directly to the people or the group in need, but to support some fundamental constructions. So that's why in the early years of NPI's development, we got the support from mostly the transnational companies such as HSBC and Ford Motor, JP Morgan, and DBS, of course. But we're glad to share that in the recent years, as China's economy just continued to grow, and we got more, attention from the local companies, and also from most of them are financial institutions, the banks, the China Merchants Bank and the Communication Bank, and because they want to get involved with the local communities more than ever before. So we just have a very good connections with them, and also the big IT giants such as Alibaba and Tencent. So another case is we work with Alibaba to run this China's largest online volunteer recruitment platform with Alibaba, which is called 3 Hours. A philanthropy platform. So there are many, other cases. So I can share maybe in the future. And so we believe this is a trend, because it's a sign that the old Chinese society, they would like to invest more in the philanthropy industry, and this is good news for all the social innovators and for the growth of the grassroots NGOs. And also at last, I'd like to share. So we are an NGO, of course, and we are not a PR firm, but we understand some of our donors, especially the company donors, they would like to do some branding. So we'll just try our best. During the campaign of the program, we just try to get any opportunities that can help the branding, such as forums or exhibitions like Expo. Every year we have the our Shenzhen team. Is one of the co-hosts of the China Charity Fair. It's actually the only national level charity fair in China, and we just showcase many of our programs. And sometimes we even invite our accompanying partners to present at the event like that. So I think that's it's called the ad venue. Ad venue work we provide to our accompanying partners. And since we don't have enough time, so I think I just make ending here. And if you go to the last page, last slides. Yes, and you can see there's several logos here. Actually, this is not a full picture. Since 2006, we have initiated nearly 20-something, nearly 30 the social enterprises and non-profit organizations, and we initiated our own foundation 3 years ago. So NPI is a brand, actually it's a brand, and under this brand umbrella, there are several it's a groups of different the non-profits and the foundation and the social enterprises brand. So we're more like a group that actually also makes us can meet the need of diverse donors. So I just want to add something like this here. And I also showed my contact information if you are interested, and we can get in touch in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jessica and Sherry, sharing your very impactful journey together and very long time. I just have a very quick questions for Sherry. So from your experience working with each other for actually over 8 years, what is your advice for corporate taking the first step in finding the right intermediary to work with?
Okay, I think I have almost answered the question in my presentation.
Yeah.
First, I think the corporates should define your own sustainability goals, so you can search for the pool of the partners in this category. Secondly, I think do more reference check and do the due diligence if you can, and kickstart in some little projects to test your chemistry between you and your partner. So a right partner in your life will save you. It's very important. You must acknowledge each other corporate's culture. So I think, yeah, that's my experience.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Sherry. So I think we will have more time at the Q&A sessions for actually Jessica to share more. So now let's move on to hear about the next successful partnership. Okay, so let me first introduce Robert Beck, the General Manager of Corporate Social Responsibility of Hyundai Motor Company, and Romy Chayadis, Chief Executive Officer of Instellar, Indonesia.
Hello, I'm honored to have a chance to explain our project HSC to all of you. My name is Robert Beck, and I'm in charge of overseas CSR program in Hyundai Motor Group. Our project aims to make Indonesia better than now regarding environment, education, and employment. I thought it is quite a hard task, like surfing on the wave, so I put the picture of it. Let's go surfing together. Next slide. Before taking you to the answer, let me briefly introduce our global CSR program. We have a number of direct CSR programs in 3 categories in the world. However, it doesn't look like that is the best way for Indonesia. So we find it out another solution for Indonesia. Next. Indirect CSR program like this graph. First, we make a partnership with accelerators to raise social ventures. Second, accelerators select teams that can solve social problems. Third, selected teams will work for that while making the profits, for sure. Finally, social problems will get better or solved as we want it. Next. Here is our roadmap for HSC. I don't think we can do it alone, neither we should do it alone. Therefore, I imagine when we put our strengths together with each organization's specialty, it will make a bigger and better impact on Indonesian society. So I drew 4 sectors like this. Planning and budgets are in charge of HMG, and nurturing and selecting are in charge of accelerators like Instellar. Supporting is needed from the government. Practicing is in charge of social ventures. Isn't it beautiful drawing? Please give us your encouragement and support for our project. Next, we are planning to foster at least 100 social ventures in Asia, including Indonesia. Due to COVID pandemic, I think there will be more needs for financial support for social ventures. Next. Luckily, we met the best partner for our project at AVPN Conference 2019. That is Instellar, who is in this room together. We met at the conference, and we also met in South Korea a few weeks after the conference to drink Korean vodka. Well, it was just kidding. We sincerely discussed about our project at that night, and we were introduced to each other by Kravis, who is another AVPN member and Korean accelerator. I'd like to introduce our precious partner, Instellar. Hello, Romy.
Hi, Robert.
Would you take over, please?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's really good to be able to share our journey together with Hyundai. And before moving on, I would just like to mention here that when we first designed the program together, it was before the pandemic, actually. It was the end of 2019. And when the pandemic hit, we weren't really sure, actually, whether we should continue or not. After a while, after some time of reluctance, we decided that actually we should move forward. And we thought that it would be very important to send a message to the Indonesian people that despite of this difficult situation, we should continue to maintain hope and optimism. So we did. We continued with the programs. And in the next slides, please. We can see that in this program, we provide three main benefits for the selected teams. The first one is the program gave an amount of grant for each selected team to grow and develop their business and impact. The second one is a combination of business workshops and mentoring to help the teams adapt and modify certain aspects of their business in this pandemic situation. And the third one is an opportunity to expose their businesses, in a demo day and awarding ceremony. Next slide, please. We received quite a high number of applications. It's over 300 applications that we received. And we interviewed 20 teams together with Hyundai and few experts. And then we selected 10 teams to join this program, and some of them are in education, some of them are in environment, and the others are in the employment sectors. Next slide, please. Several highlights which I would like to share with all of you here. As we all know, we ran this program during the pandemic. Actually, I think I would say right in the middle of the pandemic. And in the beginning, we set a very clear indicators what the teams would expect to achieve in terms of both business and social impact. And then at the end of the program, we measure again their achievement. And we were really glad to see that 7 out of the 10 teams actually achieved more than 75% of the targets. This, I think, is really it's a really good result, not only because of we are running this program, but I think this gives us a lot of hopes, a lot of optimism that despite this challenging situation, entrepreneurs really strive hard to achieve what can be done, despite all these challenges that they are facing. So we are really happy with this result. The other highlight which I want to share here is the enthusiasm of the public. We had over 4,000 viewers during the awarding event. And so this shows that, again, the public, the general people may not be involved in running the businesses, but they celebrated this program. So I think this is something which I really want to appreciate our collaboration with Hyundai. And of course, this has not been always easy. We have to be honest about this. And I think Robert will also share a couple of things which we learned from this collaboration. Please go ahead, Robert.
Thank you for your kind explanation, Rami. Well, we were asked from AVPN office what were the most challenging parts of collaboration with Instellar. Actually, there was not much, but I can pick two of these. First, we both used second language English for communication. So sometimes we had to confirm the agreed agenda over and over again after we discussed. Second, for making an accomplishment, we had to do each task individually. And later, it was supposed to combine so that we had to understand each other's in terms of working style and format, or philosophy or something else. It sounds not difficult at all, but when it comes to reality, it has many jobs to compromise in each organization. Thanks for paying your attention for our presentation, and we'll keep moving forward to make better world, and I wish you are together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Robert and Rami, sharing this very serendipitous sort of meeting of at the AVPN conference and finding the sort of this best partner in this Hyundai Startup Challenge. So I have a questions for Robert. So in this journey, moving beyond this corporate social responsibility toward corporate social impact, what are some of the biggest challenges and opportunity you see in this journey?
Well, because launching this kind of project in different country is not quite familiar for our company, and also for our business model. So we have to find out nice or the best accelerator like Instellar, and it is quite challenging part. And well, like we can promote our CSR activities to the other countries' population. It is quite good opportunity through doing this kind of like project.
Great, thank you so much, Robert. And I have a question for Ramit. So in your way of co-creating this value-aligned program with Hyundai, and also with other corporate partner, what are the common challenges you face and how did you overcome these challenges?
I would mention at least two, Ling. The first one would be setting up these expectations. Yeah, it's easier said than done. Of course, we had numerous meetings in the beginning. We would ask Hyundai, I would ask Robert, okay, what do you expect to achieve by the end of this program? And we would measure, okay, can we deliver this, And of course, from Hyundai team is the same actually. They would ask us, okay, can you do this project and achieve certain results? And even though during the earlier meetings, it seems that we have understood each other, but when we really did the project, no, there are many maybe different perceptions, also different contexts. So there were hard times, I would say. I would ask Robert hard questions. He would reply me back also in with all honesty. But I think we had to have the belief, yeah, the trust that hey, we can do this together. Okay, it's difficult, but I believe that our partner Hyundai at this case wants to see this as a successful program, as a successful project, and we also have the same expectation. So I would communicate to Robert, hey, look, these are the things that we can achieve. Sorry, there are certain things that we cannot do, and Robert would push back and say, look, these things are essential. Yeah, some things are essential. We are a global company. We are we need to maintain our reputation. So certain things are non-negotiable, basically. And then he would say, okay, but this thing, okay, I can accept. So a lot of these things are happening. So I think this is number one. Number two, I think, is different context, because we live in Indonesia, and Robert and his team lives in Korea. He did come, and we talk and all, but certain things, for example, I was I was having, this is just to give a very, now it seems foolish and funny. So in Indonesia, you know, we have calls for prayers, you know. So at certain times people pray. And so it never occurred to me that I have to explain this to Hyundai, you know. But it happened at some time, at one point a certain thing happens. I had to make a decision on the spot, and I could not really explain this to Robert properly, you know, that there was no intention to be disrespectful to anyone, but yeah, so there are certain aspects like this which we have to overcome. And again, I think eventually we have to believe that our partners really want to see this as a mutual success. Yeah, I believe that. Hyundai wants to see this project successful, and I believe that Hyundai also wants us to be successful, even though there are certain things which I don't always understand, or I don't always I am not able to comprehend. Yeah. So that's probably for now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rami. You actually touched on one of my questions, like, you know, how to work like cross-culturally. So let's now invite Sherry and also Jessica back on the stage for panel discussions.
Hello.
Hi, Sherry. And
Hi.
Jessica. So I also pose a similar question to Jessica, because NPI is becoming one of the largest intermediary in China, and through this journey and also grow through different stages, and how to co-create value-aligned program with your corporate partner. And, you know, similar to what Rami talked about, you know, working from cross-cultural contexts and challenges, like what is the common challenges that you face, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Okay, thank you, Lynn. As I mentioned before, most of our donors actually, they are transnational companies, that means they're foreign companies. But the lucky thing is they all have this passion, you know, to get engaged in the local community of China, and they have faith in the Chinese market. So that makes them actually very, how to say, they kind of respect and trust us when we, you know, plan the program for them, and they actually hear our suggestions. And to my personal experience, the biggest challenge is actually not really the we cannot reach agreement on the venue of their program. The biggest challenge can be the budget. You know, sometimes the CSR department, they don't have enough budget when we actually want to throw a, you know, large scale program. So so usually actually we just first of all, I would try to help our CSR partners to get more support from the internal channel, you know, because we have them to prepare the presentation, and we actually try to get opportunities to do the presentation together with them in front of the executives of the company. And you know, we think the face-to-face communication could be more persuasive. And sometimes, if there is a chance, we invite the, you know, high level officers from the top. Actually, we invite them to visit one of our innovation spaces or one of our community project sites. So I think they all actually just provide them more, you know, the add value of the program. And finally, okay, they say, okay, let's just go for this budget. But even though most of our program actually are start with you know, a small budget, and then, you know, they just you know, add more budget like year by year. And there's a lot another challenge actually I mentioned a little bit during my presentation is sometimes when we deal with a branding and the communication department, they do have the expectation to do some branding campaigns, but eventually we're doing this, you know, is a charity program. So we have to find, you know, a balance between their expectation and our mission. So for some program, we're just trying to invite the media and the local government officers, if possible, they can present at the ceremony, the opening ceremony and the conclusion ceremony, and we're just trying to share the information with our media partners, and we try to get opportunity for our company partners to present, to showcase the programs in front of the groups they care the most, such as the community, the people in the community, and also say the local government officers. So we just try to create opportunities like this, and which makes them kind of satisfied and make them feel it's worthy to work with the NPI. So I think that's two of my just the examples I would like to share. Yes.
Great, thank you so much. So we are also waiting for questions to kind of fill in from the Q&A. So I have a question for Robert and also Sherry, for especially kind of encouragement for corporate seeking to start a partnership with intermediaries. So what do you see are some of the biggest benefits for working with intermediaries to achieve more impactful corporate social engagement? And what are some considerations for you to choosing intermediary as partner versus other type of organizations? So either Robert or Sherry could kind of quickly chime in if you would kind of comment on these questions.
I think I can cover the second one.
Okay.
So yeah, what are the key considerations for choosing the partners? Actually, my criteria is they have their centralized teams and to control the quality of the whole project, and also they have their networking across the country to help the corporates. For example, if we are lack of human resources in each city to execute the CSR project, then we can leverage on our partners' networking and human resource to help us to control. And when we choose them, we wanted to understand what is previously what they're doing, the successful cases. They can show their cases, and also I'm quite I have quite demanding on the project data number tracking. Actually, we will be very cautious when we are talking about the beneficiaries numbers and all the outcomes. So we need the project to be in timely tracking. And also, I think the whole team's professionalism is also a very important element. And also their strong relationship with the government. It will also help us. Yeah, that's all my thing. Robert?
Thank you. Yeah, Robert.
Well, I think each organization have own specialty in different area. So my organization has some kind of like specialty in different area with intermediary group company. And I think intermediary company has good at practicing, and they know more about like local startups, the ecosystem, and their localized business model. Because even though they explain about like their society or their business model of which the local startups have, we cannot fully understand because we have different based culture. In this way, we are in charge of like planning and budget, and we will manage of how it will run by intermediary group like company like Instellar. And as long as we have a trust and trust each other, we can make bigger impact because they're more professional employees than ourselves. That is my opinion.
Thank you so much, Robert. So we have a questions from the audience. So in your partnership, how did you work out on the impact measurement scheme of your program? Can you give an example? So this is a question for all. So first, can we go to Romy?
Yes, thank you, Ling. So in the beginning, actually, as I mentioned during the presentation, we developed together with the teams, actually. And I'm talking about the Hyundai Startup Challenge program. We developed together with the selected teams what are the targets that they're going to achieve within this program, because even though we can design it from the outset, but it's the teams who would grow and face the development during this program. So we had that in the beginning, and then we actually it's a live document which we are using. So every month actually we are going to update. Okay, what has been achieved, from the initial target, and then some teams did make some adjustment in the middle of the program, and which is totally fine because situation changed, especially in this pandemic. And then at the end of the program, we measure again these indicators. So I can give you some examples. So for example, we usually divide this into two categories. The first one would be the business goals or the business objectives, things like revenue improvement or reduce in the inventory, for example. And then the second category would be on the impact side, things like number of beneficiaries or improvement in the income of the farmers that they are helping, for example. So things like that. And we do not pose any ambitious targets. I think Hyundai was quite realistic in this area and give us a lot of autonomy and flexibility to set targets which are realistic for Indonesia's context. So by using this simple approach, we would be able to say at the end of the program, okay, this is what we have achieved. I think for these questions, Ling, we have to be also because when we say impact measurement, sometimes what we mean is not impact, it's outcomes probably, or sometimes output, And so I think we should be realistic about this. When we say impact measurement, probably what we mean is not impact, it's probably outcome. And of course, I think everyone would measure output. It's very direct from the activities. And I think even with outcomes, we have to be considered which are within our control, right? And which are beyond our control. So I'm happy that, and of course, so this is what I just explained is very specific to the teams in this program. Of course, from Hyundai's perspective, they also have their own set of criteria, indicators, how they're going to measure the success of this program. Some of this measurement may or may not be directly related to the team's achievement, but we acknowledge this as well as part of the whole project management scheme. So that would be what I can share here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rami. I think your point about whether it's impact versus like outcome or output measurements is quite realistic in this sense. We also have a question from another audience. So since we are running toward the end, let us all of us kind of answer this question and think about this because it's also pandemic related. So Jessica mentioned the challenge of budget limitation and needing to convince senior management to invest in these strategic programs. How would you advise, particularly from intermediary sides and also from the corporate sides, others that are struggling to get this management buy-in, especially as budget may be shrinking with the pandemic? Okay. So first, perhaps Jessica would like to respond, because I know during the pandemic, NPI has actually done a lot of work in this effort.
Okay, so to be honest, we haven't really met this challenge during the pandemic campaign because it is the pandemic, so many companies they can be very active. So actually, we haven't met very obvious challenge for that. But we do recently we do have this there's one program we are planning to work with one of the local company, and we want to do something to support the young people after in the post-pandemic era, because it's difficult for them to, it's much more difficult for them to get a job, compared to the previous year. So they don't have much budget. I think it's less than 500,000 RMB, but they want to do much impact because the marketing department. So we realized in the first place, the people actually get in touch with us it's not like actually the one who can make the decision. So we just suggest, okay, I can take my team, because there's 3 people, and we can go to your office, and we can host you can host a seminar, and we can just share all of our experience, and we can share the idea with your team. And he thinks it's also a great example. He thinks it's a great opportunity, because for them, it's a seminar. It's also a seminar, and they can get in touch with the local NGO, and they can ask a lot of questions, because the company, they are interested in the local community. So it goes quite well. It's like 3 people from us and 3 people from them, and at the end, the boss actually gets to very happy, and he thinks, okay, this is a good proposal, and we'll go for it. So I think this is recent example. It's like you have to realize if the people you're dealing with can actually make the final decision. Otherwise, the better to create opportunity to get in touch with the decision-making person directly, because sometimes when you're give the information to the people, in between, and they might, because they don't know much about the the local community or the philanthropy stuff, they might be missing information to prevent the boss making the right decision. So just a recent example. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica, for actually kind of, contextualize, how to actually make it work, especially during the pandemic time. So I think we're coming to the end of the webinar, and then we have here, actually the conversation just started to hear about, building a collaboration and partnership and long-term partnership between intermediary and corporate partners. So I think there are a lot more that we would actually like to explore, and everybody's actually just like starting to, think about how to work it, with each other, especially consider the pandemic and also cross-cultural context, which is also quite important and impactful to work with intermediary who actually have local knowledge and expertise to actually maximize what corporate try to achieve at the local level. So now let me hand this over to Roshini.
Thank you, Ling, for that excellent moderation, and also to all our panelists, Sherry, Jessica, Romy, and Robert, for this really insightful conversation. I echo Ling in saying that this is only the beginning, and as we can see, questions have started pouring in, and I hope that this sets the stage for many more conversations to come. So thank you to everyone in the audience for your questions and engagement in this session, and also advanced thanks for future engagement as well. This session also marks the launch of a case study on how corporates have worked with NPI to extend their social impact in China. We are grateful to Han Ling, Jessica, and Sherry for their partnership in bringing this case study to fruition. And we hope that everyone in the audience will find the learnings relevant and applicable to your own circumstances. The case study can be accessed through the QR code shown on the screen, or also on the AVPN website under the Insights tab. If you would like to learn more about how corporates can extend their social impact, do look up our new microsite, which can be which can be accessed also through the link seen on the screen. This link is also available in the chat box. We have now come to the end of this session, The Power of Intermediaries